In Fallout New Vegas, there are special variations of weapons called unique weapons. These variants have the benefit of increased damage, increased critical chance, higher durability, lower spread, and sometimes coming equipped with all the modifications for the original. These weapons are special things reserved for special people. So what if you were a member of the high class and couldn't allow yourself to touch commoner shit? Can you beat Fallout New Vegas with only unique weapons? After waking up from a deep slumber, I gave myself a pretty and unique name, which I'm pretty sure no one else has come up with. I styled my hair like a punk from a Saturday morning cartoon, sorted my special points in a bipolar sort of way, they're either really good or really bad, tagged guns, melee, and lockpick, and wild, wasteland, and heavy-handed as my traits. Before heading out, I dropped all the armors and weapons I got from the DLCs because I thought it would give me an unfair advantage and stepped out into the world. There's not a lot to talk about Goodsprings because I just skipped both sides quests. I did shoot the bottles and get the snow globe to later cash in at WrestleMania. Before setting off for the adventure, I decided to change my traits. Wild Wasteland is still there, but heavy-handed has been replaced by the sometimes useful claustrophobia. It didn't change much on my character, as my stats were either too high or too low to be effective. I went from place to place, discovering as many locations as possible to level up as soon as I could. I was careful not to mess with the vipers and jackals. Normally, they are extremely easy to kill, but when the amount of damage you can deal is equal to 0, they can be a real problem. I sought refuge in the Mojave Outpost, took a job for Ranger Ghost, which was literally just checking to see if a place hadn't burned down. Even if she couldn't go, I'm pretty sure she could have spotted the problem, she just couldn't see it clearly due to the poor drawer distance. Now, because I didn't think that this challenge was interesting enough on its own, I thought about adding unique clothing to the mix. I saw through to it when I found the unique version of the gambler hat and threw away the commoner clothes I put on a few moments ago. I raced through the pit stop to Nipton, met Jacqueline alive for once, then reached the Spurs to deal with the profligates I brought with me, got a taste for men, and made up my mistakes by informing to the NCR what the Legion did to Nipton. After a quick nap, I avoided the Mojave Desert trash, hit in a farm, and got my first weapon, Chopper, a unique variant of the meat cleaver that, like the original, does bonus damage to limbs. I headed back out to fight against that one gang member that kept chasing me, but he was nowhere to be seen. He probably knew the massacre that was about to come. On my way to Novak, I tested my new knife on some crooks hiding behind a sign and some more rats that followed me. The result was not what I expected. They died, but only because the Legion or another hive mind mentality group stepped in to kill them. In Novak, I waited for everyone to go to sleep. Malcolm Holmes interrupted me again, so I cut his body in so many pieces that by the time he was rearranged back to pieces, the grandchildren of his grandchildren would have kids. I broke into the Dynamite gift shop. I appropriated that gun, a unique weapon that has no command version unless you have the Gunrunner's Arsenal DLC. It uses 5 56mm ammo plus bonus critical damage and is based off a movie I've never seen. I returned to Prim to get the Sheriff's Duster, the second piece of unique clothing, and to quite literally break the bank in the casino. The townspeople didn't like that, but I didn't like getting shot, so I made sure that not a single living thing was left alive in Prim. This included the convicts and their stupid little hostage, whom I kindly asked to follow me to the exit, responded with mockery, and was killed for his rudeness. My rage still unfulfilled, I returned to Mojave Outpost to take a job for Ranger Jackson, which involved going back to my childhood days of burning ants with a magnifying glass, except instead of a glass, it was a cleaver, and instead of burning them with the sun, I cut them up like the worthless NPC that is Malcolm Holmes, only not as bad. I went back to the outpost to see if I could repair anything valuable, but it was either too good yet or not accessible because it uses an outdated mechanic. I had to find a replacement for the Sheriff's Duster quick before it broke, and I knew where to get it. I used the key that is my tongue, my smooth talking, to get Manny to tell me where were the guys that buried me without a coffin. I made my way to Boulder City, tried to piss off the kid by attacking the mural, but ended up attacking him. I entered Boulder City, gave New Vegas its deserved M rating, helped the cons with their NCR problem because I thought that later I would have to break the lines with Caesar, but the route I took made it entirely worthless. New Vegas was next. I had been hoarding enough weapons in my pocket to pass the credit check. All I had to do was sell them. I visited an old prune, killed it, and got the explorer's gear. There's nothing statistically or visually different about this costume, but the name is different, so that's all I need. I arrived at Freeside, actually bought a king to be my bodyguard, and he left when I got in Mecha Ralph's. I decided to return to Novak to get 2 unique weapons. The first was in the hands of Old Lady Gibson. She should have glued it to her hands, because after becoming the next Jojo antagonist, I got Big Boomer. A shotgun that does all the damage if you're close, but none if you're just a feet away. The second weapon, however, would take some work to get to. I went to Helios 1 to take control of operations, spoke with Pinky and the Brain. They each gave me a password to activate the thingamajig that increases the polarity of shit. Was the culprit of a robot genocide. My poor retinas were affected by the amount of light hitting my face, and watched as the NCR soldiers were turned into KFC fried soldiers. Next up was getting the weapon Euclid C-Finder. A kid in Freeside had it, but at the moment I couldn't spare the caps for it. Once I got into Vegas, I entered the Lucky 38, where I found the fourth unique weapon for this run, the Golden Gloves, which do more fatigue damage than regular damage. I spoke with Mr. House, who like me, was unique among a sea of copy and pasted people. He asked me to get the platinum chip back, went to talk with Benny, and fell for his trap. Actually, to fall in a trap would mean that something bad happened. The ones that fell in a trap were his bodyguards, who suffered horrible deaths. The worst one being the one where a guy fell down and wasn't able to get back up. With Benny gone, and an invitation from Caesar delivered, Mr. House told me to play it cool, and head towards the fort for the next part of his plan. I went back to Freeside to get the C-Finder from the kid, first by trying to steal it from him, and when that didn't work, I paid him more than enough to buy 50 cotton and cigarettes, and joined Freeside as another junkie in the street. The C-Finder is unique in that there is no other like it, and shoots a beam from the sky to bring reckoning to all those against it. I went to the 188 trading post to buy some ammo from the gunrunner. My game crashed, reloaded, and then it crashed the second time. I headed south to Cottonwood Cove and found more weak gangsters in my way. Before continuing my travels, I decided to stay at the Viper gang encampment to heal myself. I could have just taken a quick nap and healed all my wounds, but I didn't do that. You see, at level 2, I became a homosexual. At level 6, I became an enthusiast for gore. And at level 4, I became a cannibal. So I satisfied myself on the corpses of the recently deceased Vipers, and then took a nap. At level 8, I got Stonewall, which is self-explanatory, and entered the Pewter City Gym Leader Cave. I found the Ratslayer, the 5th unique weapon, which is a unique variant of the Varmint rifle that comes with all the modifications already attached and has a 5 times critical chance. With luck of 10, this means I can score a critical hit half of the time. I put my new toy to good use, killing the overdeveloped rodents in there. Then came Camp Searchlight, the ghouls outside that turned to the hell they came from. Got a near-death experience with some golden geckos, and found 3 holy frag grenades, the 6th unique method of taking life. They are far more powerful than the regular grenades and have a higher radius of explosion. There's another unique weapon here, but in order to get it, you need to talk to a guy that gives you the key to the place. Saying, as I'm too stupid to use the computer, I went to Novak to get some supplies and heal my radiation. I killed the guy and his goons, leveled up, almost died to a scorpion and her babies, and got Knock Knock, a unique fire axe that does more damage and looks different. Unique, I know. I finally arrived at the fort. Caesar was impressed with me, went down to the basement to activate the Securitrons, killed the robots with the worst kind of choke possible, the choke of death, and got one of the most useful perks in the game. I left the fort, delivered the platinum chip to House, and while watching his demonstration, I remembered something important. I left Benny at the fort. So I went back, talked with Caesar about my job, and he gave me the chance to kill Benny. However, something happened. I couldn't use my weapons because they were taken from me, which meant I had no way to kill Benny and take his unique suit. Then it occurred to me. I'm unique. There is no one else like me. I am my own self, so that means theoretically I could use my fists to beat Benny to death and keep his stuff. Some of you might call this cheating, but remember, you are unique. There is no one else in the world like you. Ex-twin brothers. If you have one, kill them and make sure it looks like an accident. I returned to the tops to find new talent for the theater, get paid, and get a new gun. I spoke with the lonesome drifter to get him to accept my job proposal, but he just didn't want anything to do with it. Reloading a save, I killed the drifter, which failed the quest. I wanted to get paid for this, so I loaded back once more, scouted the other guys, and found out that if you want the drifter to accept, you have to listen to his story first. Once he got done, he gave me the mysterious Magnum, a 44 revolver with engravings and a unique theme which you can listen to right now. I I went back to the ghost town of Prim to open a safe that contained Lucky, the unique 357 Magnum revolver. I don't need to explain what it does, you already know. Next, I went to Camp MacLeod to bring the heads of some drugged up enemies to Commander Datri. But before going, I entered the sewers below MacLeod to find another unique weapon. I don't like sewers. They're tight, smelly, and really show my phobia for the insides. But my trip down there was worth it, because I got the humble cudgel, a unique lead pipe that has a T section, making the caving of skulls easier and faster. This weapon was useful against driver Nephi, who also had a unique weapon, but I just talked about another one, so here. Next up was Coco. I actually took the advice from Little Buster, and it may have worked out pretty well, because he died before anyone else. Thankfully, they were kind enough to leave his head intact. Finally, there was Violet. The dog lady thought she was smart surrounding herself around her dogs. What she didn't consider was a great number of high-speed bullets taking her and her doggies out before they could even know where was the sniper. With her head ripped out of her body, I not only turned my word to Major Datri, but actually got all 3 heads clean without any injuries. With the 3 main fiends down, I had another objective in mind. In Vault 3, a certain guy named Motor Runner had a special helmet which, shocker, actually protects you. Not a single fiend on the way to and in Vault 3 was spared. But they would soon find refuge inside the one place I couldn't hurt them. Inside me. I put Nephi's golf driver to good use, leveled up, kinda got 100 lockpick, made Motor Runner ever regretted facing me, and took his unique helmet as a trophy. Some other things happened down there, but they're not really important. The reason I came here was to save some NCR ranger, but I wasn't able to find him, almost like he never existed. Or maybe it was the button I pressed somewhere without him to escape. I went to a sniper's nest to get for the first time in like forever the Gobi campaign scout rifle. It looks like a rifle from the Gulf War with the desert camouflage, which I think makes it look really cool. While I was buying some food from a vendor in Freeside, 2 petty thieves came up to me. In my world, any crime is punishable by death, so I showed them the power of .308 rounds fired from a high-powered rifle. Now was time to actually work on the main story. I took George's advice for once. It could have got better. I agreed to help kill some ants in a basement, but only because that basement had Thump, a unique grenade launcher, and it was about time I got a unique explosive weapon. The boomers experienced irony at first hand. Loyal wouldn't go down without a fight, so I gave him exactly what he wanted. Once I got done with the boomers, my next task was Gomorrah. The only problem was I couldn't sneak my weapons in without sneak at 50, so I did some odd jobs here and there. I recruited a smooth talker, a zombie cowboy, and a penetrating machine to work at a 3-star casino in Bell. Disrespected the elderly, finished the quest, and still didn't have enough XP to level up. I spoke with a fellow introvert who asked me kindly by the way to get some pictures for him. He was a real nice guy. He even gave me a unique camera which does no damage, but is still unique. With still no level up in sight, I headed to Nelson to end the Legion. I've already done all I have to do with them, so it's not like I lose anything of value. The ranger wouldn't buy the things I said I did, so I went straight to Nelson, killed every single member of the Arizona Wildcats, took a unique lawnmower blade, which I would put to good use later, freed the hostages, and proved to Ranger Milo who was the cunt here. Next, I decided to head to RepCon HQ. By metal, their life was given, and by metal, their life was taken. Found the Q35 matter modulator, which I technically didn't use, and finally leveled up to sneak my weapons into the casinos. Casino was still an asshole like always, so I stole his diary again, only this time his secret was that he liked to wear women's underwear. I found a guy who seemed pretty suspicious. He tried to act like a fool, but I saw right through it, which is why I killed him. Big Sal and Risotto faced the might of plumbing, got some money to play in the casino, immediately changed it back, and got tasked next with eradicating the Brotherhood of Steel. Before heading to Hidden Valley, I decided to head back to Nipton Pit Stop to get back at the Jikers that took advantage of me when I was weak. But some Legion assassins decided to get to me before the battle, and while I was facing away, the thugs came at me from behind. I didn't know how I could survive. The action was tense, so tense in fact that it crashed the game. Reloading a save, I decided to just head to Hidden Valley by passing by the NCR Correctional Faculty. I was going to let the powder gangers live. I really was going to, but one of them decided to attack me, then another threw a stick of dynamite, and that was it. I'm done. I'm fucking done making peace with the Powderfingers. I gave them the gift of not killing them, and in return, they tried to attack me. Not kill, attack. Because these guys are so fucking weak, they couldn't even kill a mantis nymph just by stepping on it. I used the machete I got from Dead Sea because if there's one thing me and Legion share is the hate for weaklings. I cut them up, ate their metaphorically rotten corpses, entered the main building, posed no difference to the pathetic excuse of movement they called an attack, gobbled them up, killed the last remaining prisoners, and left the correctional facility a bloodbath. I discovered Hidden Valley, spoke with a girl about science fiction. She tagged along, used her password, told her to leave, and found out that you need to enter with Veronica, otherwise the Brotherhood attacks you on sight. Reloading, this time I get Veronica with me. I only dismissed her when we got inside the bunker, and began my master plan. First, I became invisible. Then, I stole stuff. Finally, I activated the self-destruct and eliminated the brothers. There's honestly no more to talk about. I really just did what I usually do. Big things were about to come, as the president was going to give a speech on sex ed and make everyone uncomfortable among themselves. I went to Hoover Dam to enlist myself as part of the President's Secret Service. Found nothing for clues. Doesn't matter because I already know this mission like the back of my hand and began the ceremony. Ali Harvey Oswald wannabe wanted to have his 15 minutes of fame, skipped straight to the part where he dies. An imposter used the wrong method of assassination, showed him how it's really done, and the President escaped unscathed. With the President safe, the penultimate task from House was to insert an override module to activate the Securitrons. Before going there, I went to Black Mountain to get another unique explosive weapon. The super mutants are strong, and so are their weapons, but if you pick them from afar, they can be disposed of pretty easily. The Night King's sniper almost killed me, so I entered bullet time, emptied the cartridge in less than a second, and got Annabelle, a unique rocket launcher that's unique. Since I had gotten so far, I went to the main recording room to kill Tabitha and level up. I headed to the place I was supposed to go, had a run-in with Legion assassins, used a holy frag grenade that actually worked really well, and got rid of the remains with my golf swing. At the El Dorado substation, I got warned not to enter the station, ignored the warning, got a quadra-kill, installed the override chip, and returned to Vegas to head to Hoover Dam for the final battle. Then I remembered I forgot something important and loaded back to before the battle. I headed northwest to Horowitz Farmstead because a very special weapon is waiting there for me. On my way, I encountered a pair that had a unique weapon, so I killed them and stole their weapon. Vance's 9mm submachine gun, a weapon I didn't even use. At the farm, I killed some vipers whose clothes I used to repair my armor. Up north, I encountered some A Lamaos that had objectively the best weapon in the game, the Alien Blaster, which has a 100% critical chance and turns those unfortunate enough to be hit by it into dust. I bought some supplies before the battle and returned to the Lucky 38 to finally begin the final battle. This time, the battle began outside Hoover Dam, which is good for a claustrophobic person like me. After I failed to hit anything with the mysterious Magnum, I resorted to using explosives, which did a more than satisfactory job. The NCR soldiers, despite having budget power armor, were able to survive a head-on, face-first shotgun blast. Really, the only one who did any work here was the Securitrons. I met with House once again, read the terms of surrender for the NCR, had a quick snack, killed the last remaining NCR troopers, and powered up the Securitrons to set the fort ablaze. Finally came the Legate's camp. The Praetorians and other Legion veterans got blasted one way or another, but the one that was really about to get blasted was the Legate. He's smart and strong. He knew that I would try to get to him with a cheap shot. He just didn't expect that cheap shot to come from the sky, but to my surprise, it didn't even kill him. I quickly switched back to the grenade launcher, and the Legate ran away like a little bitch, only to throw grenades at me. That really pissed me off, which is why I disintegrated him and performed a sacred dance ritual over his only remain. Annabelle got her best and only time to shine. I had a victory feast and told the general that this was no longer NCR country. The Rangers all got disintegrated, but I gave Oliver the benefit of being killed by a weak man with only the most unique of things. Had one last meal before ending the game and beat Fallout New Vegas with only unique weapons, but also with unique equipment.
Conmigo amor, porque tú y yo nos haremos los dos y muchas cosas juntos vamos a hacer. Mi valor va a protegerte mientras vivas aquí.